Grace Redman, welcome to the Orgasmic Lifestyle Podcast. It's a real pleasure to have you here. For those who are
Well,
unfamiliar with your work, could you tell us what you do?
thank you so much for having me, Venus. So, what I do is for the last 26 years, I have been supporting our community through Stansbury Staffing, which is my staffing firm, and helping local clients and candidates with their careers. And also, I'm a success coach where I help entrepreneurs and executives unlock that inner peace and confidence to soar into that freedom-filled life that we're excited to wake up to.
That sounds amazing. A success
Thank
coach. So, what inspired
you.
you to follow this path?
That's a great question. Well, working in my staffing firm, I sat down with, incredible men and women who, for some reason, had lost their confidence and self-esteem, and just working with them to help them, unlock their confidence and see how amazing they were really inspired me to start that coaching side of the business. And probably like you, I've always been the person who studied self-development from the age of 15, and most of my friends came to me for advice. So it was just a natural progression and something that really fills me and brings me joy.
So, what is a success coach exactly?
Great question. So, a success coach is someone that works with you to help you meet your goals, and also someone who helps you identify those unconscious stories that are keeping you from reaching your goals. So, for me, it's not only, okay, what are your goals? What's your desired state, but what's your present state? And then what's the gap between having you reach your desired goals? So it's really, and success can mean something different for each person. So it's just really helping you uncover those unconscious your stories you've been telling yourself to be able to reach your goals
Is this about professional success or all around success?
all around. I've
Mhm.
found that we've been conditioned to compartmentalize our personal and professional lives.
Mhm.
And in working with my clients and having the experience myself, when we compartmentalize our personal and professional life, we fragment ourselves and disconnect ourselves. So it's really both. Because, if you're struggling in your life, most likely your business is struggling. And
Mm.
so it's really working to integrate your personal and professional life to have, whole success.
Mhm.
Because we're a whole person. We're not separate in our personal life and not separate in our professional life.
I guess there's so many people who really throw themselves into work because of
Yeah,
personal life disasters. Like, have you seen much? Have you tried to kind of create more balance with those people? Have you seen many cases of that?
oh, absolutely. I'm an example of that as well. So I've also been working on that. And majority of the clients that I meet with are working really hard and are disconnected from their personal life. But also we use that as a coping mechanism. We
Mm,
use work as a distraction to keep us from focusing on ourselves and on our relationships because it really is easier to just go in, work, and not worry about anything else. And then because you feel like you're being productive, not realizing you're missing the whole point. Because if you're not feeling good yourself, then your relationships aren't good and your personal life isn't doing well. It's going to bleed into your professional life and your business or your career is going to struggle. I've
mm.
seen it over and I've experienced it as well.
Yeah, I experience it too. I think as a freelancer, I think there's that temptation just to go, working 7 days a week and thinking you can't really have time off because you can't afford it. If you're not working, you're not earning. It can be
That's
very
right.
hard. Hmm.
That's right. It's funny because I just gave a talk on that, moving from hustle to flow.
Oh, I love that
And
title.
you love that. And
Yeah.
so, I'm the one that's let's hustle, let's grind, let's go.
Mm,
And as I've been on this journey to integrate my personal and professional life and have more peace and confidence myself, I realized that the hustle was for me, in my experience, my hustle was rooted in fear. Fear that
mm,
I wasn't good enough, fear that the business was going to implode if I wasn't, hustling and grinding, fear that I wasn't going to create the income that I needed. And so, although there was like this exciting energy behind the hustle, in reality, when I dug down deeper, it was a tremendous amount of fear,
mm. Definitely. But I
like
also
you just
think that
said.
in my case, I think it was also, I just assume maybe a lot of people feel the same that when you're focused on the professional, it's easier to control the factors and the variables because, personal life is impossible sometimes. Would you
It
say
can
that's
feel that
true?
way.
Mhm.
So what I'm hearing you say is that when we're focused on our business, we feel like we have more control.
Yeah, because like effort and reward or effort and results might be easier to control. Whereas, sometimes I think, this in this podcast we talk about relationships quite a lot, and that can be, a place where people are feeling very, out of their depths with, loneliness and just disconnection in
Sure.
general in personal relationships.
Sure. And I've also been there, and what I learned was the disconnection was within myself.
Mm.
And that's when I started to do the work to really connect with my inner self, to do my own, healing work, to recognize, where are my triggers? Where are the areas that I feel fear? Where are the areas that I feel insecurity? And as I started to work on those areas, I started to feel less disconnected. And my relationships started to flourish as well. Now, there's also some boundaries I needed to set, some relationships I had to let go. But ultimately, when we're workaholics, we're also running away from ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the time when you really notice that is when Christmas comes around. I mean, that was the most depressing time of year for me in the past, when because suddenly everything's stopped, there's no more emails coming in and you have to face yourself and you're not really liking your life. Hmm. Do you
And
have
in
any?
those moments, what did you do in those moments when you found yourself just in that space?
Well, I had a whole month of self-love in December 2019. So I just devoted the whole month to doing really cool things like energy healing and yoga retreats, Ho'oponopono, breath work. I just
Yeah.
really went all in on a lot of modalities I'd never experienced before. And it was really fantastic. I'm so glad I did this just right before the pandemic because I had all these tools, these new tools to handle a very, a situation that we were not prepared for. And also something that was really key for me was to stop working at the weekends because that's a
Mm,
danger, when you're
yes.
freelance. I think 'cause
Yeah.
having that, that certainty of when money is coming and how much can be very hard. But
Yes.
obviously, when you work less, then you actually it's about prioritization, really. I think, shifting that prioritization to, actually focusing on the social life and the personal definitely creates more balance. And then,
Yeah.
you work better, I think. And then there's less fear about weekends and, Christmas and things like that.
Well,
Hmm.
absolutely. And we need to integrate play and fun and connection into our lives because then that puts us in a higher, energy frequency. And then that's when we're more open to attract opportunities and possibilities. And I find that, and I've experimented over the last few years, there's nothing wrong with hustle and grind as long as it's coming from an energy of, of fun and knowing and faith. Like you have faith in yourself, you have faith in what you're doing.
Mm.
And you also take time to play and to connect and focus on self-care. Your business will thrive when you take that. I've experienced it. There was, in 2021, I said, okay, this year I'm just going to focus on play. I'm not going to focus on the business except for the basics. And the business did really well.
Hmm.
And then when I said, okay, now I'm going to go back and hustle and grind and just focus on the business, I burnt out and business stalled.
Mm, wow.
So we're doing ourselves a disservice when we're not allowing ourselves space to live.
Mm,
Your business will not suffer. Now, you know when you're not putting the type of effort you should in your business.
hmm.
So most people who are watching this episode are already people that are committed and consistent to taking action,
Hmm.
and they just need a little bit of play
So what kind
or a
of
lot of play.
practices or would you recommend for someone who's really just focused on the work and they're kind of forgetting to play, but also feeling sad about the imbalance in their life? How can people start to shift and get from hustle to flow?
Oh, that's a great question. I recommend creating a morning routine. And
Mm,
and first thing in the morning, there's a few things that I would invite, your guests to do. Number one, it doesn't have to be a long meditation, few minutes of meditation and prayer, if, either one or both, if they choose. and moving your body. That could be literally a short walk outside, because there's something about getting outside in nature the beginning of the day that just resets you. So just it doesn't even need half an hour. If you just start with 15 minutes of setting the intention for the day by doing, a short meditation, that could be a gratitude. What are you grateful for? And then just getting outside, literally, just even for a 10-minute walk, because I feel what happens is that when people think like, oh my gosh, I need to add something else to my day, I don't have space for a morning routine, they don't realize that you can just start it with just a short 15 minutes. I promise you, those 15 minutes that you take to get outside, meditate, do your gratitude, and set intention with the day are a game changer.
So, so,
It'll change your day.
so what did you do in your year of play then? What were the biggest
I did a
yeah.
my year of play, I traveled almost every
Mm,
month.
mm,
I took longer walks in the morning. I spent more time journaling in the morning. I spent more time meditating. I was having lunches in the middle of the day. So it was amazing fun. And I wasn't
mm,
working on anything new for the business. We just kept just it was the basics, and business was fine. It didn't implode.
mm,
Our, numbers stayed healthy. So it was a great experiment. It was a great experiment.
mm. So what would you say was the biggest obstacle for your clients, your success coach clients?
The biggest obstacle is themselves, and
Mm,
the stories that they're telling themselves of why they can't get to that next level, why they can't soar to the next level. And oftentimes they don't even realize that there's a story there.
mm,
And so it's really uncovering, okay, what are the stories you're telling yourself? One, and two, we're always dealing with storms in life, either the internal storms within ourselves or external storms. And oftentimes, what I've noticed with my clients is they allow those storms to take them down. And so what we do is, okay, what are the story you're telling yourself? Let's uncover those stories, one. And two, we build a mindset that they're able to get through those storms and harness the energy in the storms to soar, to get to that next level, because really the storms are coming to teach us something. And so if we can see that in that perspective, we harness the energy of those storms to create opportunity.
yeah, definitely. There's a lot of fear around now, with the economy and everything.
Yes.
What kind of message would you want to give people to equip people for these current storms?
Yes, yes, yes. And and I'm aware of what's happening. I've also been affected by these storms, and I make a conscious effort to continue to stay in faith. Like, I know that this is just a cycle and we will get through it. And I get it. It's scary because I felt that fear as well. However, I play this as a game. Like, I am not going to allow the fear to take me down. So I continue to show up in my personal life, in my business. I surround myself with other people who have a good mindset. I'm aware of what's happening, and I also am aware that I can continue to create my own destiny,
Mm,
even through the wilderness.
definitely. I think one thing topic I would give is like not don't watch the news. Just
I
kind
do
of
not watch. I'm aware, I do take a couple minutes
mm,
just to stay aware. And I'm like, oh my goodness, the world's ending. All right, time to go for a walk. And then it just shifts
mm,
because, at the end of the day, whatever you focus on grows. So if I'm focusing on the lack and the fear, I'm just going to bring more lack and fear into my life. And that's not healthy for me or my family or my business or my employees or my clients.
mm.
So for me, it's very important to stay in a mindful, positive mindset, not only for myself, but for my community.
So you just mentioned a lot of things there. I'm wondering how do you compartmentalize and to be on top of all these different things, such as the family, the business, the clients.
Well, that's why I take time in the morning.
Hmm.
And that morning routine for me is key. I make sure I don't take any calls. I don't always do great at that.
Hmm.
I do have my phone on do not disturb the majority, of the time. And I do whatever's I calendar and I block time for each thing. One and two, I have a team. There's no way that I could do all of this on my own. So I have a team that also helps support me. And that's why it's so important for me to stay committed to a healthy mindset because I do have a lot of moving pieces and a lot of people who are, depending on me. I have a lot of responsibility.
I've been going through a massive scaling or a scaling, actually growth period in the last 6 months, which has been amazing. But people always say, focus on one thing, but I just can't focus on one thing. I just find that very restrictive almost because I have so many different interests. So I'm trying to learn. So I just think, leaders are not just focusing on one thing. They're doing what they can do, the decision making, and then outsourcing and having
Yes,
teams. Do you have
yes.
any tips about growth and how to grow without losing your mind? Because sometimes, I did a tarot reading for someone today because I read tarot as well, and there is a card in the Celtic cross spread that's hopes and fears, which is interesting because sometimes the thing we hope for is something we fear as well, and sometimes you can get so much work you can't
Yes,
really handle it, and you're like, oh my God. So,
yes,
so I'm kind
yes.
of feeling at that time now where there's this growth happening, but you think, oh my God, can I handle the growth? Can I maintain it? Can I sustain it? Do you have any tips about that, about how to successfully outsource and build?
Yeah, I've been working on that for the last, 26 years. It's a
Mhm.
constant, push and pull. And I also thought that working on, five different things at the same time would work. However, I realized that I can have five different pillars that I am working on. However, I'm not able to work on them at the same time, meaning like on Tuesdays, I block off time to work on, the new messaging that we're creating for the business.
Mhm.
And that's what I work on Tuesdays. On Wednesdays, I record the podcast. On Mondays, we handle, all of the business that needs to be done in the staffing. And so in the past, I would do all types of different things all in the same day. And I really wasn't productive because you're unable to code switch because it takes a different part of your mind to record a podcast than it does to create content.
Mhm.
And so that's what's helped me is really just blocking time for certain tasks. So I am working on five different pillars of business, but not all on the same day, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I'm doing the same thing actually. I'm doing Monday and Thursday paid content, Tuesday digital products, affiliate marketing content, Wednesday business development, which is one of my favorite parts, and then Friday's the
Oh,
podcast. Business development, you love.
yeah, because that's your favorite part.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Yeah.
What does business development look like for you?
Well, just because I think, sometimes you can be busy, but you got to think about future work. So it's just doing outreach and just sitting and thinking
Yes,
about where do I want to go next? What's going to happen next? So could be even like just um, conceiving ideas of what courses I'm going to make or something like that. So and doing email outreach, which is something I really love actually. I love,
I love
connecting
that.
with
I
new.
love that you love that.
And a lot of people don't like that, but I love it because I think of, I've been doing what I do for 16 years and um, I was primarily focused on sexuality at the beginning, and I've just got so many great things through email campaigns. I mean, my very first one, I didn't even know what I was doing. In 2010, I wrote to all the magazines in Spain saying I've just started a blog, and I don't even know what I was asking for. It was the worst email campaign I've ever done. And then the director of GQ Spain wrote to me and offered me a column, and I was like, "Oh my
My God,
God."
I love that.
So
I love that.
yes, I've just received like amazing things. I even got a couple of articles published in The Guardian, or I got a book deal with
Nice.
Penguin Random House in Spain. So
Wow.
these are all the results of, email campaigns. And I think it's having that mindset of, I'm offering something that's worthwhile, that's
Yes,
actually valuable, and someone's going to find out about me today, and that I might be just exactly what they're looking for. So I think it's
yes,
exciting how you can open doors and also think bigger. Because some of the things that I've achieved, like the GQ thing, at first, the guy wrote back to me and said, "Oh, it's an honor to have you in my inbox. Call me." And I was like, oh my God." That was like hopes and fears things. Then I called him and they said, "Write an article for me." And I just thought he was going to do something promotional for me. But then it ended up being a column. So it just kind of got better and better, this
love
thing.
that.
So I just think it's exciting to think about where you can go next and have big ideas and just try,
Yes,
because it's just an
I
email
love
in the
that.
day. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. But also what you just explained right there is mindset because
Mm,
so many people would have a different mindset. Well, I don't want to send out the email. What if I get rejected? So this is a beautiful example of going into it as I have something to offer. You had an incredible mindset, an abundance mindset, and the opportunities came. And so that's a great example of, the difference between fear and faith. Had you gone into sending the email out from a place of fear, you probably wouldn't have gotten that gentleman to reach out from GQ.
mm, yeah. But I
So
think
it's all
yeah, definitely. But there's a lot of fear still in the, the freelance or the solopreneur life. Because you can have I had a very big contract for a few years, which gave me a lot of stability. And then it ended suddenly, and I was, I was completely blown away in the worst possible way. And I think I started 2023, I think it was, with just one, or maybe 2022. I started with just one paid review, and I had nothing else. And I just increased all of my outgoings when I had this big contract. So I was really in a place of fear. So what I did was I just kind of created this email campaign plan. So just focusing on different pillars of mine that I wanted to get into. So I just focused on trying to send 50 emails a week. Then I got so busy from those things, that I didn't actually complete that. But it's exciting to be in that, just the outreach stage.
Yes, it
Definitely.
is. And I enjoy it. I definitely do email outreach. And the last year, I've been focusing on in-person outreach, being in
Wow.
Silicon Valley. There's so many incredible networking events, and that's been incredible. And it's the first time that I've been able to do events like that because now my sons are grown, they're in their 20s. And before, when they were young, I wasn't able to do those events because, I wanted to take them to sports and be with them after school. So it's I see what you're saying about it's fun because
Mm.
you're opening opportunities and possibilities. You never know who you're going to meet or how you're going to share or how you're going to impact. So I love that perspective you shared. It's
Mm.
beautiful.
Do you think there's a difference between, in your experience, and your approach from B2B outreach and B2C? Do you think it's different? Because I'm not really experienced in B2C so much. Mm,
It is for me, it feels different
mm,
because the majority of my career has been B2B,
mm,
and the business is the one that's paying the invoice. It's not a person.
mm,
And so I've had to do some, when I started the coaching, I had to do some, mind shifting around that because it's very different in you're doing this with a business as opposed to the individual.
mm. Just slow down a bit there. So yes, absolutely, I agree. It's very different. With the person, the decision maker, if they're spending their money or company's money, that's a very different dynamic.
Very
Mm,
different, very different.
mm. So do you have any tips on B2C outreach?
The main thing is building the relationship. And so
Mm,
there are some individuals and connections that I've had for over a year where I still haven't asked for business or shared about the business because for me, initially, it's most important to cultivate the relationship, get to know how you might be able to help them,
mm,
and always like, how can I be of service? So really for me, B2C, or in any, not just B2C, but B2B is the relationship and how you can be of service, what you can bring to the table. It's not, for me, it's not transactional. I build the relationship first and then see, the areas that I can benefit and then bring those things to the table. And it takes time.
mm,
It's not in the first meeting or the second meeting, third meeting.
mm. So how is your coaching business set up then? Do you offer discovery calls? Is it courses, or do you do one-to-one? Do you do several weeks? How is it?
Yes. So I do discovery calls. If someone is, interested in working with me, I offer a 30-minute discovery call. And I also have a VIP day available if someone's interested in doing a VIP day, which would be, half of a day working with me where we would just really dive down really deep in that time. And then I have a one-on-one 3-month um, mentoring program that you can work with me. And if you would like to continue from there after that 3 months, I have some clients who just work with me twice a month and they just stay on that cycle.
Mm,
Just so initially it's a 3 month program. And then if you continue with me, it's every, every other week.
So is it a fixed program, or is it you kind of is it Kate or customized to each person?
It's customized to each person. But I do work on number one was, okay, what is your present state? Where are you today? What is your desired state? Also, what are the stories you're telling yourself? So there's a framework that I use, but obviously each person is a different. And depending on the person, because someone, like yourself, who already has like a high level, of awareness and you understand Ho'oponopono and you've done the deep healing work, we can go straight to some deep dives. Whereas someone else who might not have, that awareness yet, we're going to really start at a basic level. So it really depends on the client
Mm.
and where they're at. So I meet them where they're at.
Do you have any great transformation stories you can share with us? The most
So many.
impactful one?
This one always comes to my mind. I worked with a young lady, and she really was interested in a position within the city and county that she lived in. She had tried 8 times. She applied for the position and took the test 8 times and failed it 8 times.
Mm.
And so we started working together, and then we prepared her for the ninth time. Well, the ninth time she went in and she passed the test that got her into the interview process, and she ended up getting the position. So I'm getting emotional even thinking about that. So
Wow.
that was one of just something that came up and stands out in my mind just after not passing 8 times, the ninth time after doing, the work, she passed and she's still working in that position today.
Wow. I suppose that takes a lot of perseverance to keep going after so many fails. Mm. Amazing. So you're
Yes.
also doing speaking as
So
well.
that was
So
really a
what was your own kind of journey of learning, like to get you to this
Mm.
position? What kind of
So
muses
that's a
do you
great
have?
question.
Mm.
Just so you know, I was terrified of public speaking or showing up in a Facebook Live for 3 years. Like it took me 3 years to finally feel comfortable to do a Facebook Live. So if you would have told me that I'm, getting paid to speak these days, I would have told you you're crazy. And it was just a progression of, once I started coaching and I started to receive requests to speak at schools and in wellness studios. And then I received a request to speak for one of the local real estate brokers. And that event went so well that, the broker and some of, my colleagues in the audience said, Grace, like you need to do this professionally. And so then I thought about it and I started to pursue a professional, to pursue speaking professionally, and it's been amazing. A lot of growth, a lot of work.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I would have told you you're crazy if you said you're going to be a professional speaker.
So what training did you have for to become a speaker? Any tips for stage presence or what
So
any? Mhm.
I am in a speaker program, now, so I will probably continue that my entire career. But in the past, I love connecting with people one on one. And, again, having a staffing firm and a coaching firm, I meet with strangers sometimes, sometimes 10 different new people a week. So I'm used to connecting and speaking to people. So I think that's helped me. Um, and being, kind of the matriarch in my family, I've been asked since I was, in my early 30s to speak at weddings and funerals. So it's always been something I've done, but nothing I've thought that I would do professionally.
Wow. I'm doing Toastmasters right now. So I've been doing
Yeah,
it for six.
Toastmasters is great.
Hmm? You've done Toastmasters?
Toastmasters is great.
Yeah, I'm in my sixth year now, so I'm kind of feeling not very challenged by it at the moment. So I'm just looking for new challenges. I guess I just don't prepare my speeches anymore. I just kind of go on and do it because I think, I am my biggest obstacle, as you mentioned earlier. We are our own biggest obstacles. And if you know your message, then it's just a case of getting up there and practicing. And I remember once I went blank twice on stage. Do you have any tips for public speaking for overcoming nerves or things that can go wrong? How do you kind of make sure that that a speech goes well? How do you prepare?
Well, I definitely, you're right. The messaging is important. And that's why I love these podcasts because it's reps. Not only
Mm,
do I get to connect with people like yourselves, but it's also a rep in the messaging.
mm,
And also just remembering, like, you're there to serve from the heart. Like, if you're coming from the heart, so falling from my head into my heart and knowing that I'm, being of service helps me. So
mm,
just getting out of my head and out of the perfectionism and just knowing like I am doing this from the heart has been really helpful. And the audiences are, it's rare that I've had, I have had a flop, but that was, I learned from it.
mm,
But just falling from your head into your heart. I'm sure
mm.
you've also had that experience.
Yeah, and when I'm doing
Just
professional
falling.
speaking, my technique is just make good slides and that's it. Because once you've got good slides, I just rely on that and then just use those as my springboard.
Yeah, that's true.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's true too. That definitely helps as well. But like you said, you've been doing this for 16 years.
Or six.
So,
The
your
podcast
message.
this year, but Toastmasters is 6 years, so a little bit less. Yeah,
Oh, but
but
overall, I mean, you've
yeah,
been in your business for 16 years.
mhm.
You've had 16 years of rep of your message, of the work you do. And so that's why when you get on stage, it just comes naturally because you embody your message.
Definitely. That's the most important thing, isn't it? Embodying your message. Hmm.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
a couple of questions I ask all of my guests. What is the book that changed your life?
Mm. So many amazing books. I love The Untethered Soul by Michael
Oh,
Singer. And that's one of my favorite books. And I make an effort and to continuously practice surrender, especially now because there is so much chaos going on in the world. And that's really what I've been practicing is surrendering and letting go and trusting that everything will unfold the way it's meant to. That's been just so key in me being able to stay grounded during such an ungrounded time.
definitely. I love the Surrender Experiment. That's an amazing book.
Yes, actually, I was thinking about the surrender experiment and the untethered, and then I spoke out the
Mm,
untethered soul. It's the surrender experiment by Michael Singer.
mm. Yeah, I actually bought The Untethered Soul. I don't know why, but I tried to read it twice and I'm just not connecting with it right now. Maybe it's just not the right time. But I did read the Surrender Experiment 2 years ago and I found it just such a page turner. And just because I do a lot of work in manifestation and intention
Yes,
setting, that seems to be the absolute opposite of that. So it was a real shift of mindset. Yeah. Mm.
it is. And well, I'm also huge on manifesting, and a big piece of manifesting is surrendering and detaching from the outcome.
Hmm.
And that's
Definitely.
really what the surrender experiment talks about. So it's so funny that I said the untethered soul
Yeah.
when I really meant surrender. So I'm so happy that you said the surrender experiment.
Hmm.
It's yeah, it's amazing what happens when you surrender. And that doesn't mean giving up. It
Mm.
just means letting go and accepting where you are and being
Definitely.
open to more.
And are you a reader? Do you read often?
Yes, I'm a big
Mm.
reader, so I have tons of books. One of my friends is like, "How many more books do you need to read?" I said, "Until I die, I will be reading."
Okay, what are you reading at the moment?
What I'm reading at the moment is it's called The Pivot Year, but it's a
Oh, I've heard
page
great
a
things.
day.
Okay,
Yeah, the
that's
pivot.
harder when you're a reader, isn't it? Just to do one page and put it away.
I know. It's
Mm.
it's it's hard to do that. And what I've also been doing is listening to podcasts. I've been listening to Mel Robbins' Let Them. I
Mm.
listened to a couple of podcasts with her and James Doty yesterday. And so, when you asked me earlier, how do I, stay in faith and not fall into the fear? I listen to podcasts to stay in that high vibration.
I've not read Let Them, but I'm intrigued by the title. But I do find it kind of the energy of that message to be similar to the surrender experiment, just to kind of allowing things to be and unfold. Hmm.
It is. And, we get to choose ourselves too by setting boundaries and being discerning on how we move in the world and what we give our energy to.
And you just said that. I just thought about something I just noted down earlier from what you said about success and when you connect with your clients, you have to look at, what they need to release and let go of. I think sometimes in
Yes.
the success journey, not everyone is going to accompany us on that journey, and it's so hard sometimes when you come out of alignment with certain people who've been by your side in your life. And I've been going through that a lot lately. And do you have any advice about that?
That's been one of the most challenging things for me.
Mm,
And I'm constantly dealing, with that. And I've learned just to come from a place of unconditional love. And not everyone's gonna, go with you, and that's okay. And, I meet people where they are. And there's been times I've had to set boundaries, and there have been times that I've had to let relationships go.
mm.
But that's been something that's been, a challenge for me as well. And it's been a challenge for me. So yeah.
Yeah, I
And
think
you
for
don't
me,
want to
it's the
hold yourself
guilt.
back.
It's the guilt.
Yeah.
It's like you just.
Totally. Totally. And then who do you think you are? And at the same time, you need to choose yourself. You cannot hold yourself back and
Mm,
keep yourself small, because of the relationships that you have. That's not doing you or anyone else any good. It's a disservice to you and the people around you because people are watching you. They're watching you for inspiration.
yeah. I think there's also a fear of that as well, because, when you're in a fear mindset of who's by me, when in my time of need, I think sometimes we hold on to those relationships out of fear. Mm, mm,
That's true. And, I've really connected to myself and the God of my understanding over the last year and a half. And it's helped me tremendously. Like people are going to disappoint you. People are going to disappoint you, but God will never disappoint you. And it doesn't mean
mm,
people are bad. It's just each person's going through their own journey and they have to look at things that will help them and benefit their families. It doesn't mean that they don't care about you. It's just you are going to get disappointed and just not to have expectations and just, again, I'm not saying this in a negative way, but rely on yourself and the God of your understanding or the universe
mm.
or whatever you choose to call it.
And I found that sometimes, I don't know if you can empathize with this. Well, in times of real busyness, I found that people have not been so understanding of my busyness almost, that they've taken it personally. And I
Yeah,
found the busyness has given me the best excuse kind of thing
like
to
what
kind
I
of
was Venus.
recalibrate.
Venus. Okay, today on the drive into the office, I had someone text me who I really need to set a boundary with. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful that I'm busy because I could use that as excuse. However, there's going to come a point where I need to, address the situation. So, but it's so funny because you read my mind from this morning.
Oh wow, that's so crazy. Yeah, I've been in that situation a lot, and I've just been but then I think about my own mental health and bandwidth, because I've had people who just don't want to respect my busyness, and I find that really hard because people know, who know me personally know how hard I've worked, and how there's been real times of struggle as well as the times of growth.
Yeah, no, I've been in a moment. I've been also in a time of where my schedule is really heavy, and like I said earlier, I put the phone on do not disturb. It's on do not disturb probably 95% of the time. And I had a friend say, I'm starting to feel some type of way. I'm like, what do you mean? She said, well, every time I call you, you send me to voicemail. And I said, oh my gosh, no, I'm not sending you to voicemail. I just want you to know my phone is always on do not disturb. So it has nothing to do with you and I'll call you back. And she goes, why do you have it on Do Not Disturb? Is because I can't focus if I'm constantly distracted by the phone. So she
Mm,
understood, but I'm glad she brought that to my attention
mm,
because sometimes people have expectations that we're not even aware of, and then it damages the relationship, and we're not even aware of the expectation they have.
mm. Yeah, I had something very similar happen to me this year, where someone was taking it very personally that I was so busy, and actually after that point I just didn't feel the inspired to spend more time with that person, because someone who doesn't really want, not because not everyone celebrates your success. That's another point of success that's kind of taboo, is that the people around you, that they say a friend in need is a friend indeed, but I think the real friends are the ones who are cheering you on, at your times of success.
Yes.
Mm, mm,
Yes, yes. And I have had to share with some of my friends, like, right now is a time of building for me, and I may not
mm,
be around and I might not be available. But if you need something, and it's like if there's really something you need, I am there. And that's my community and my friends and family know
mm,
that they know if they pick up the phone, they're like, I need you right now, I will drop what I'm doing and I'll be there.
mm.
So it might not be just to go hang out and have cocktails or like lay by the pool, but if like something comes up and you need me, I will be there.
Cool. So what are you working on right now?
So what I'm working on right now is our new messaging because we are going to be revamping the coaching website. So that's taken time. I'm also working on a new keynote, so that's been exciting. And I have some, few coaching spots that's opened up in my schedule. So those are some of the exciting things that we've been working on, and I'm excited to share the message. It's almost there.
Amazing. And another quick question I ask all my guests is, what is the affirmation or quote that you live by?
Mm. I wrote it down the other day and it's I am powerful. I don't know.
Mm.
I've never written that one down before. And just the other day, I was asked to write an affirmation and that's what came up. And when you asked me, that's what came into my mind. So I think I want to dive a little bit deeper into that. But that's what just came up. I am powerful.
Amazing. I've got this little book here with affirmations in it, and I kind of do randomly open it and write down. I'm going to
Do,
copy
do
you.
a random one. Do
Sorry?
a random. Like open it randomly for us right now and let us know
Okay.
what.
Okay, let's do it. Because I'm going to add I am powerful to it. Just so you know. Okay, let's do it. Okay. I love this. I don't chase, I attract.
Oh my gosh, we are so in sync today. That's exactly what I was working on this morning with one of my mentors.
Wow. That's
Oh, and
amazing.
that's been a theme. That's been a theme. Oh, the universe speaks through you, Venus.
I'm having quite an aligned day as well. So yeah, here we are. You can't really see this. I don't chase,
No,
I
I can't really
attract.
see it. I don't. Yes. We attract. We do not chase.
Yeah, because someone gave me this really nice book which is handmade, so I couldn't just use this for notes. So I thought I would do
I love that.
affirmations. Yeah, so I've just done a quarter of the book so far, and I'm reaching my goals. Got some really cool things here.
Yes.
But one of my first
Yes.
ones was actually I am important because I realized that my one of my goal or core wounds was not feeling important in life. So now it's time to take up space and be
Yes.
unapologetic.
Yes. I love
Definitely.
that. Take up space, be unapologetic. You're
Mm.
amazing. Shine, rocket, all of that. All of that.
And something you mentioned earlier, which is actually I really resonates with me a lot, is that I'm actually quite afraid of doing lives and webinars and B2C. Do you have any tips? And also, I really want to get into coaching because I'm creating my own modality now called 8 Pillars of Self-Love. And I'm
Cool.
practicing with lots of friends, and it's been so successful. Do you have any tips for me about how I can start to, you know, monetize this, not monetize this, but just kind of get that confidence just to do webinars and things like that? Because there's always that fear of like, what if no one signs up? You know, it's just a bit weird.
You know what I'm going to say? Just do it. I mean, if you're
Mm,
able to show up in this way,
mm,
you'll be able to show up in a live and in a webinar and just do it. And there's things that I need to do as well. And I just started doing it yesterday. It's better done than perfect. So
mm,
I think that's what held me back was the perfectionism. And so what I want, to share with you is you're amazing the way you are. You've already been doing so much of these things. It's just a small pivot. You've already been
mm.
doing it. You're already showing up. You're already
Mm.
doing the conversations.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good question of organizing and focus, definitely. So, where can people find you?
They can find me at www.graceredman.com.
Mm.
And then I'll have my links to my social media there, to the podcast, to the books, to if you're interested in a discovery call. Everything is on my website.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us today on the Orgasmic Lifestyle. It's
Much
been very aligned.
Oh, I love it. I love or anything orgasmic.
Yeah, the premise of this is actually to reach climax in all areas of life. Because I have,
Yes, I love
yeah, so it's not just about orgasm. I just do a sexuality relationship thing on every full moon. we have a
I
lunar
love it.
publishing schedule, so it's new moon, first quarter, full moon, and the third quarter. I do meditations on third quarter, so
I love
yeah,
it.
it's a lunar thing, and so I do a lot of personal development, a lot of spirituality on here as well. So
I love
yeah,
it. I love it. May we continue to rise together.
absolutely, definitely. Well, thank you so much. Let me stop the
My
recording.
pleasure.